nothing is perfect. After owning my Tesla Model Y for several months now, I've spent a lot of time driving it on the highway, driving it in the city, and a lot of time on Autopilot. I've put this car through a lot of other tests as well, such as speed and performance testing, along with the daily usability of it. After getting to know my Model Y day in and day out, I've started to find a few things that I don't necessarily like about my Model Y. The things that I'll be going over today are not the end-all be-all for the Model Y. Rather, there are some things that I don't necessarily like about the car, and they're not deal breakers or anything of that sort. I don't like the quality of the front and side cameras when reviewing Sentry footage. Resolution is not the limiting factor. The Tesla can easily drive based off of the visual information from the current cameras only being 1.2 megapixels. I'm assuming the answer is that there's no real reason to use 4K. It's kind of absurd when you think about it. It would drastically increase the cost of the hardware, and not to mention it's not as simple as just 4 times the resolution. That would also result in 4 times the computational power. Multiple streams of 4K would require an unreasonable amount of processing power, which is terrible for electric cars since that will affect the watt hours per mile. Many assume that the computer vision benefits from high resolution images, but that's not the case. Even purpose-built high-end workstations would struggle processing that footage. Speaking of Sentry mode in the cameras, a thing that I wish Tesla would let us do would be to stream in real time on your phone when there's a Sentry mode event going on. Actually, Tesla white hat hacker, Green the Only, who has been revealing new Tesla features found in software updates, believes that Tesla is working on letting owners remote live stream what their cars see with the Autopilot cameras. Tesla owners already have an extensive look at the status of their vehicles, including the doors open or close, same for the windows, charge port, and more. Now, there is a possibility to be able to view Sentry footage directly from the Tesla app. Now, the issue ties back to the first problem I mentioned. It would require a lot more computing and bandwidth to be able to do this. Maybe Tesla isn't 100% releasing this feature because of the added costs and how hard it is to do so. After all, it's been nearly a year since Green the Only's tweet. Many people don't think it's going to be a useful feature, but it's one of those Tesla features that is just cool. And I'm sure some creative Tesla owners are going to find some interesting use cases. Alright, so you guys already know that Teslas have driver profiles. I made a video about that a few weeks ago, and I'll link it at the top right of your screen and in the description below for you to check out. But there's one slight problem with it. When I click on my driver profile, the wheel moves into place, the side mirrors go into position that I've set, and the seat moves up and forward. But the rear view mirror is the only thing that does not move. Sometimes when you have other people drive your car, it can be hard getting the rear view mirror position back to where it was. I thought about it, and if Tesla is able to make the side mirrors and steering wheel motorized, how hard can it be to do the same for the rear view mirror? I don't know. Maybe Tesla has this in the plans for the Model S and X in the future, and then eventually trickling down to the Model 3 and Model Y. Real quick, if you're enjoying this video so far, please hit that like button and subscribe. I would really appreciate it if you do so. Let's try to hit 2,000 likes for this video. Building on the driver profiles, Tesla should implement passenger profiles. After all, Tesla did remove the passenger lumbar support based on data from the passenger seats. Elon tweeted that their logs showed almost no usage and that it was not worth the cost for Tesla when it was almost never used by anyone. So my question is, if they're able to see this data and logs for the passenger lumbar support, how come the passengers don't get their own seating profile? After all, it is just for the seat, unlike the driver for the steering wheel and the side mirrors. The next thing that I don't really like about the Model Y is the visibility from the rear window. Since I've been driving regular cars all my life, it's become a natural habit of mine to look over my shoulders and in the rear view mirror to change lanes and such. When I do that now on the Model Y, I'm reminded that I don't really have a full view of what's going on around me. The 2 side cameras and the rear camera that you're able to pull up on the screen do help, but I kinda wish that Tesla had implemented the blind spot warning system that your Toyota Camry has nowadays. It would be an easier and safer way of changing lanes, since you would already be looking at the side mirrors and for it to just turn on a light if another vehicle is in your blind spot. And yes, Tesla does show the surrounding cars at the bottom left of your screen. I also discussed the rear visibility more in depth in an earlier video of mine. I wish the Model Y had a 360-degree bird's eye view. Yes, I know you're probably saying that I have access to the side cameras and this giant view of the rear camera, but when I'm parking in a tight spot or don't want to scratch up the front splitter from getting too close to a curb, a bird's eye view camera would definitely be useful. It would also be useful to prevent from getting curb rash. Teslas are notorious for getting curb rash since the wheel and the rim stake out more than other cars. So having a 360-degree bird's eye view would be an excellent thing Tesla could add. I think the reason Tesla has not added this feature is because of the way the cameras are positioned on the outside. They may not be in the correct places for them to stitch together a comprehensive 360-degree view. The glove box does not have a physical button or latch to open it. The way to open the glove box is really cool, but after a while of tapping on the center screen 2 times, it can be a bit problematic. Nothing too serious, but when I'm in a rush or just trying to access the glove box from the passenger side, I have to get in and sit in the car to be able to open the glove box. Otherwise, I'll just be reaching really hard from the outside of the passenger side. It's a really cool thing to have to open it from the center screen. Also, when you want to close a glove box, you can't tap on the screen to do so. You have to reach over and push it closed. Maybe have it open with 1 tap on the screen as opposed to 2, or just a physical button on the glove box. I don't know. Tapping on the screen 2 times isn't a huge problem necessarily. It's definitely just a first world problem. Right now, it says I have 212 miles left on the car. What I wish it would display instead would be for it to show the actual projected mileage based on my current driving. The displayed estimate is based on the ideal circumstances of driving at a certain speed, the way you accelerate, and the level you have the AC or heater on. I know I can access the chart and graph history of how I've driven the past 5, 15, and 30 miles, but it would be a bit more convenient if it were displayed here at the top. Basing the estimated range left on your driving style by default can be more useful for those who are maybe new to Teslas or just want a seamless and easy way to see how much range they have left. When you're on autopilot, every so often the car gives you these reminders to give the steering wheel a tug to let it know that you're still paying attention. You can hold your hands the traditional way you drive a car while autopilot is doing everything, but what most people do on autopilot is rest their hand here at the bottom. Okay, so you're thinking, what's the big deal here? You're just obeying what the car tells you to do in order to have autopilot engaged. Yes, but after a bit, your index finger can get a bit tired due to this little ridge here on the side of the steering wheel. Now, it's not the end of the world for autopilot here. It's bearable, but maybe in the future Tesla is able to change things up a bit. The 10th and final thing that I don't like about my Model Y is that when it's pouring with rain outside, changing the wiper speed isn't as easy as you may think. Tapping the end of the left steering wheel stalk activates the wipers once and brings up the windshield wiper menu, but imagine this. You're driving on the highway and it's raining hard. You can't afford to take your eyes off the road to select the speed that you want your wipers to be set at. Maybe the other day it was only drizzling and you had it set to the first speed and now it's more than just a drizzle. Yeah, Teslas do have an auto mode for the wipers, but in those certain cases, it would be helpful to adjust the windshield wiper speed from the stock. Looking back, this was actually a difficult video for me to make since there are so few things that I don't like about the Model Y. Overall, I think that the Model Y was probably the best purchase I've ever made. Please note that the things I went over today are not deal breakers by any means. Just some nitpicky things that I've noticed from driving my Model Y for quite some time now and just sharing them with you. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like if you want to. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell to stay updated on my upcoming videos. Follow me on Instagram to stay updated on what it's like to live with a Tesla and the behind the scenes. See y'all in the next video.